Guys, welcome to FastCode21 Medical Coding YouTube channel. The purpose of the channel is to help the people who are in need of medical coding reliable resources. If you are already subscribed to our channel, help your friends to subscribe. If you are visiting for the first time, then click on subscribe button to receive future updates in medical coding field. This channel is helpful for freshers, experienced coders, aspirants of AAPC certification exams and IHIMA certifications. If you have any other topics or concerns, please mention in the comment section. Please click on like button to encourage and motivate us. Please watch until the end to gain in-depth knowledge about ICD-10-CM, CPT, ECPIX coding systems. As these Q&A sessions are very useful in live coding, medical coding interviews, CPC and CCS certification process. Guys, if you go to any interview, keep familiar with the code books like ICD-10-CM, CPT, ECPIX, as our sessions will assist you in the process of interviews and examination, but not an alternative to original interviews process as well as the examinations. So today our topic is how to create outstanding resume for medical coding interviews, which is useful for both freshers as well as the experienced people. As you know, the healthcare industry is booming, but while jobs are in demand, competition is more. Hence, we have to make a good first impression before we begin to create our resume. As all of us know, first impression is good impression. So while we are searching the jobs, our journey starts with the preparation of the resume. So if our resume is good, so mostly we will get the job. Why means people are employers just see the resume and they will arrange the interview for us. So while creating a resume, we no need to include our life story. We need to make sure to hit the strong points like who we are, like who are we, where you received your training, your experience in the field. So which are necessary for the employer to check our capabilities for the suitable position with their organization. So basically what is a resume? So a resume is a formal summary of our education, experiences and our skills. It should be simple, logical and brief. A personalized cover letter introducing you to the potential employer, identifying the position we are applying for and indicating how you land up the opening should accompany a resume if requested. So basically cover letter is not mandatory. So if the employer requested or whether if you have more experiences and more industry related experience you have, then you need to include your cover letter. As a fresher, we no need to have any cover letter, only one page resume is enough. So what we will keep in our resume? We will keep our education, experiences and skill. These are necessary for the employer to check. Points to consider while creating resume. During initial screening process, your resume may be looked at for as little as 15 seconds. Therefore, it is important to follow following guidelines. So, as we discussed previously, while in the initial screening process, employer will check our resume only. They will not check our physical appearance. So, as the screening process plays very important role in the job searching, we need to keep some few points in our mind while creating a resume. So be brief. In most cases, your resume should be only one page long. As a general rule, an additional page can be added for each additional degree under 7 years experience based on employer requirement. As we discussed previously, if you are a fresher, only one page is enough. If your experience is having more than 7 years, you need to have your cover letter based on the employer requirement. Be conservative. Stylistic gimmicks like we need to keep bullets, symbols, indenting and bold type can be used effectively but should not be overused. So wherever it is necessary, we need to use bullet, symbols, indenting and bold type. So we can't overuse all these bullet, symbols, indenting and bold types. Overuse makes bad resume. So be logical. Prioritize and arrange your information knowing that we read left to right, top to bottom. Also be sure that information you present flows smoothly and sensibly. Arrange the categories to reflect our strengths. So we need to arrange the information in a systematic manner so that the employer can read it properly. Be conscious of image. Resume should be visually appealing, printed on white resume or bond paper only, and should never contain typographical or grammatical errors. So we need to make our resumes defect free. So before finalizing resume, we need to check multiple times whether any grammatical errors or typograph errors exist. Be consistent. Make sure to keep the same format and style throughout your document. Here we need to select same font for whole document. So for example, if you want to keep Times font, you need to keep Times font. If you want to keep Calibri, we need to keep Calibri whole document, not one section. Whole documents we need to keep the font, same font. Be powerful. Emphasize your skills by using strong past tense action verbs. Statements which demonstrate results will most effectively highlight your skills and abilities. So we need to market ourselves using strong action verbs. Your selection process will depend on your resume only. So here we are going to learn resume construction. Format: chronological, the most traditional format, a categorical listing of information in reverse order of occurrence allows the potential employer to quickly scan for pertinent information regarding your experience. This format is the most popular and excellent for demonstrating employment history. So reverse chronological means we need to keep latest experience in the first phase, and then we will keep our past experiences. Functional and targeted. This format emphasizes your capabilities, skills and accomplishments rather than job titles. The functional format is most effective if you are changing fields or seeking different emphasis in your career. So functional means skills what we have. We need to make those skills and accomplishments in a proper way. Combination. This format combines the best features of the previous two. Experiences are listed in chronological order but organized under skills or topical headings. Layout. Font. A simple, easy to read font is best, as we discussed previously. Use either Times or Arial in readable size, not smaller than 10 point, not larger than 14 point for your name only. It is best to be conservative. Choose one typeface and format style and stick to it. So we can't change the format style. We need to stick to only one type. Consistency is key. Consistency is key for every field, every subject, every occasion. So avoid italicized text and underlined words. So we can't do italicized text and underlined word. Margins. Half-inch margins for top, bottom, right and left are preferred. Use margin adjustment to create symmetrical and appealing resume. Design. These tips will make your resume easier to read and or scan into the employer's database. Use white or off-white paper for resume. Unless you have considerable experience, you don't need 2 pages. Outline your achievements briefly and concisely. If you are a fresher, only 1 page is enough. If you are an experienced guy, we need to have 2 or more pages, as we need to mention total our experiences and responsibilities in the previous job. Print on one side of the paper. So we can't create resume on both sides. We need to print on only one side. Do not fold or staple your resume. We can't fold or staple our resume. So proofreading and editing. Have your resume and cover letter critiqued by several people. Do not be critiqued means, so some people likes our resume, some people will not like our resume. So do not be afraid to delete unnecessary words, sentences and paragraph based on the requirement you are like critiqued by the people. Make the appropriate changes and show the revisions. So whenever someone tells that this is not good, we need to make the changes in our resume. A good resume is always work in progress. At least 3 revisions are usually needed to produce a solid product. Solid product means outstanding resume. So minimum 3 times we need to check our resume and we need to final our resume. Follow up. Calling to check on your status or to verify that your resume and cover letter have been received may show the employer that you are motivated and very interested in the position. If you call the employer, he thinks that this guy is very interested for this job, so I may take chance to recruit him. However, it is important to make good decisions concerning the degree of follow-up. So in addition, calling if the employer has specifically requested no phone calls will create negative impression. If the employer mentions that no calls, we can't call them. So if you call them, it will create negative impression. So if there is no restriction to call the employer, we can call them and we can create positive impression about us with the employer. Submitting scannable and online email resumes. Nowadays, many companies and organizations now have few additional tools in their application and screening process. Example, electronically sent resumes and scanning. Sometimes we need to send resumes online, sometimes we need to send in a scanning process. While these tools can make submitting, receiving resumes easier for both parties, they create additional issues for us. So points to consider while sending resumes on email or scanning process. So deviation from the instructions for submitting a resume online can immediately eliminate you as a candidate. So while we are sending a resume to the employer, we need to follow their instructions. Otherwise, our resume will not reach to the employer and we will lose one opportunity. So electronic scanning systems search for keywords that match you to the job. If you don't use the right keywords, the hiring person would not even see your resume. Be sure to target your resume to the job description. Use their words. So, for example, if you are going to the medical coding job, so if you don't keep medical coding keyword in that resume, that scanner will not identify your resume and your candidature will be restricted. So we need to keep the keywords which are related to the job we are applying. So computers read differently than people do. Techniques that create an appealing resume to the eye can be confusing to the electronic eye. Use minimal symbols and bullets and font and one font size and white paper. So we need to maintain the consistency while creating a resume. We can't change the font size frequently. So here we have one resume template which we can use. So first we need to keep heading or contact information. In heading we will keep name, address, street address, city, state and postal code, telephone and area code if it is possible or available with the email address. If necessary, include both your current and permanent address and phone number on the resume. So heading and contact information which we are going to put in the first place. So second point would be objective or summary. An objective tells potential employers that the sort of work you are hoping to do. So basically here we need to mention why we are trying to get job with that employer. So what are the skills we have and what are the employer required. Be specific about the job you want. For example, to obtain a suitable position utilizing my professional skills, communication and teamwork. Tailor your objectives to each employer you target, every job you seek. So based on the employer and based on the nature of work, we need to change our objective. So objective is not common for all jobs. We need to change it based on the job description or your skills. So skills and qualification. Next, third point is skills and qualification. Special skills that are key to getting the position you are applying for. If any special skills, you can mention here. Leadership experiences in volunteer organization and community involvement. Wherever you have leadership position, that we can mention here in the skills and qualification. Participation in extracurricular activities must be current. So we can't keep old achievements, we can keep current activities. Education. We need to keep name of institution attended, city and state where the school is located. Next one, degree awarded and date of degree. So we need to keep our qualifications as well as the date of the when do we finish that qualification. So course titles, if employer requests them or if they substitute for lack of work experience. So if you have any courses that you can mention here, the employer requests them or if they substitute for lack of work experience. So in some situations you don't have any experience, but if you have trainings or if you have completed any related courses, the employer will recruit you. So you need to mention your course titles also. Experience, position title, organization name, city and state or where organization is located, and also dates of service. So here we need to mention our experience. So mainly we need to mention our position and organization name. Why means sometimes they will contact that previous organization while providing us the opportunity. Next point is awards and honors if applicable. So award title and organization, purpose awarded for, date awarded. So if we have any awards and honors, we can mention. So it is one type of like self-marketing. Next one is memberships, affiliations, volunteer if applicable. Position title, organization name, city, state, dates of participation or membership, description of skills used in position. So for example, if you have CPC or CCS, you can mention that as a membership. So if you have CPC means you need to have the AAPC membership. If you have AHIMA membership, you can mention that here. So we need to highlight activities and applications in which we have been active and developed our skills. So we need to mention all the activities we are familiar with and what we have developed using those skills. We need to use past tense action verbs in the experience section. So experience means this is like we have completed already. So we need to use past tense. Past tense only we need to use in the experience section. As it is not present, it is already completed. So we no need to include marital status, age, ethnicity, religion, place of birth or citizenship. These are not necessary basically. So here we have few resume rules we need to do. What we need to do? We need to think of the employer's needs when composing a resume. So for example, so when we are creating a resume, if the employer has AR caller position, we can't keep medical coding description in the AR caller's resume. So whenever we are creating resume, we need to think employer's needs, what he wants. Next, target your resume to be relevant to the employer and the position. So we need to match our skills and our qualification to the employer's requirements. So we need to include our name, address, telephone number, including area code and email address if you use it daily. Do emphasize your skills and accomplishment. So you can't skip your skills or accomplishments. Whatever you have, think positively, and we need to mention and keep all those in the resume. Do use action words and quantitative description. Show the results of your work and how well you did your job. So here we are going to explain the employer our past experience, and you need to tell them what are the results you have gained with that experience. Next, do use reverse chronological order for experience and education. So latest is first, old is or past experience is second. So do proofread your resume. Do use quality bonder resume paper. Do keep your resume as concise as possible. Limit your resume to one page unless you are extensively experienced. As we discussed previously, as a fresher we can keep only one resume. Based on experience, we can keep more pages. Do use fonts for organizations of information and visual appeal. So we need to use same font in the whole document. So do use past tense of your action verbs. So whenever we are keeping We are going to explain past actions. You need to keep past tense like in the experience. So do provide specific examples of how previous employers have benefited from your performance. So we need to keep few examples before going to the interview what the previous employer got benefited from you, like with your actions. So we need to ensure that no room for mistakes. Keep your resume up to date. Whenever you go to the interview, maintain the resume up to date. In the resume, you only need to include relevant information on your resume. It should not take more than a page. Be sure to limit your resume to include only information vitally important to establishing your impact on a company. So as we discussed initially, we no need to keep our family history or life history. Just we need to check the employer's requirement and we need to mention the same things in our resume. So basically we need to compare our skills as well as the employer's skills. So which are common, we can keep those. If we have extra skills, that also you can keep in the resume. So while creating the resume, things we can't do are don't use abbreviations except for state abbreviations. So we can't use abbreviations. For example, if you want to write AAPC, you need to write complete full form of AAPC. So don't include personal information such as age, race, ethnicity, religion, national origin or marital status. Don't use graphics more than one font, create fonts or colored paper. So action waves, so for resumes, accelerated. So here action waves means as we have discussed previously for experience. So these words we can use: accelerated, accompanied, accomplished, balanced, briefed. So these are the words you can include in your action web section, which we will mention usually in the experience section. So I have helped my employer like this way, like that. So illustrated, implemented. So I have implemented that process in our previous company. Because of that, that previous company got benefits. So using these words, you need to create few examples and you need to mention in your resume. So here we are last and final section. This is the resume template. So if you want, you can use it as a template. So first we need to mention our name. Second one is address. Third one is phone number. Next email. So these are mandatory while we are creating one resume. And also we need to keep them initially. Objective: looking for medical coding specialist position with ABC Healthcare, utilizing skills and experience in coding based on client specificity. So just objective: why we are looking the job in that particular company. Here skills. Here these skills are included experienced coders as well as the fresher coders. You need to read and you can find out what are the skills you have. Based on that, you can mention in your resume. See here, for example, in-depth knowledge of preparing appropriate claim documents, proficient in assigning appropriate medical codes to diagnosis and services. If you are a fresher, you can't keep all these points. If you are experienced coders and if you have genuine experience, you can keep all these keywords or points in the skill section. So next you need to keep your education. So you need to keep whatever the education you have from the latest, and also employment history from the latest. So latest employer you need to keep first, then previous employers. I hope this session is very useful for you. Basically guys, wherever you go in any job type, so first impression is good impression. So based on our resume only, we can get the calls. As you know, nowadays, everyone is seeking our resume before giving the job. So try to maintain a good resume using these steps and these skills so that you can make it a very proper resume. I hope this session is useful for you. Please like, subscribe, comment and share it to others. If you have any concerns, please reach out to fastcoder21@gmail.com. Thanks for watching guys. Happy coding.